Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So we're working on building the inn, which requires these collidable map objects around the bed so that we can kind of slot in and fit in the bed. Now, what we got stuck on yesterday was this isn't the inn, that's Mage's Castle, but over at the inn we wanted to, hey Loki, what's up? We wanted to kind of refactor. Yeah, I think we want to change this because it's like this collidable map objects class, right? Its first two arguments are a row and column of the scene we're in. So we're in map 1019, so therefore 1019 are the column are the two values we give here. I really don't like this approach. It doesn't make any sense to me, so I want to change it. So if we look at what the collidable map objects class is it takes in a row and column. Now, see, what's weird is the row and column isn't for the scene. It's not to determine what scene we're at. The row and column is supposed to determine where our collidable map object exists. So we wanted to be able to give it coordinates like 2 over, 2 down, and, 2 being 2 tile sizes, 2 sprites, right and then down. So we can say 2, 2, and we just have a quadrant for it. So what's weird is we also then ask for a parameter of an x and y, and this is what I just don't think is good at all, because like it shouldn't be either x or y or row and it shouldn't be require both row, column, and x and y. It's just that the x and y is determined by the row and column, and then our actual collidable map object, which right now we're rendering as a red rectangle, doesn't have anything to do with the row and column we pass it. We just kind of... Yo, sounds good, Matt Birds. Yo, thanks for hanging. I call you Matt Birds instead of Matt Bird, but yeah, okay, I probably should say Matt Bird. Thanks for lurking, man. I always know when you're here because I can see Rayquaza in the corner of my eye. But yeah, so basically I want to refactor this out. Okay, cool. Yeah, no S. Gotcha. Yo, have a good lurk, homie. Okay. So yeah, I think we should just take out these X and Y altogether and just assign it based on a row and column. And that being the tile row, tile column or something. Because I just, it doesn't make any sense. What's weird is that it works now because we give it a 1019, which a 1019 on a tile column shouldn't be on screen actually, but then we give it an X and Y, but then the X and Y, I don't get how it works, because then we're saying if there's... Okay. No, I'm seeing it. If there is an X or Y, if there's a total of 6 parameters, then we're just ignoring the row and column essentially, because X becomes X here. We don't calculate with tile column row. So yeah, part of me wants to just get rid of these X, Y altogether. So if we do that, it might break a lot of stuff, but this was like driving me crazy yesterday, so we have to fix it. So anytime we insert a collidable map object, I'm going to make sure we don't give an X or Y. Well, yeah, what sucks is like we have to convert this into row and column, right? Because we took out the row and column, but now we want to actually we took out actually the X and Y, but we need to assign the X based on the column or row. So this is like, let's just make sure any other collidable map object. What sucks is I don't know how many times we've used this, so I don't know how many method calls we just kind of screwed up by removing those two parameters. So we got these ones. That's fine. Oh shoot. This might screw it up. Let's see. Okay, thank God it didn't break our collidable map objects for the walls, because this is where we cycle through our global map.lua and assign the collidable map objects based on the tile ID. But we need to find any other instance where we might insert a bed. Yeah, this is what we're working on. Okay, so it looks like the only other time we use it is here in the declaration for both mage wall barrier. So let's make sure if we take out those two parameters that our mage wall barrier is still active. It doesn't seem to be. It should be right there. But also, yeah, I want to say that this, we might have to just now put 4 and 5 as the row and column, and 0 would actually be 1. Let's see. Okay, well there's 1. We might have screwed this up. This is in our... Yeah, this isn't it. We want to go here. Let's test this out. Because, like, ideally, when we do this, we can say 1, 1, and it'll be the first tile, right? 1, it'll be the first tile top left, which it looks to be. Okay, so if we say 3, 1, let's see, it should be scooted over. We flipped it. 3, 1, let's see, collidable map object. Row, column. Row, and then column. So the row is how far down we are. Column is how far right we are. Yeah, so X is defined by the column, Y is defined by the row. And we look like we give the row first row. I want to do it the other way. I want to do it over and then down. So the row is not first, the column's first. So yeah, we give the X and then the Y. Okay. So 1, 5, I believe, should be like the left doorway up the mage's exit here. Uh-oh. What the fuck? We swap this around. Shit. Well, since we swapped that over, we screwed up all of the insertions. This is really screwed up. I want to refactor this because it just drives me crazy that it, you know, I want it to be second nature to add these things instead of having some backwards. So this IJ should be JI at this point. And then hopefully that fixes this. Okay. So we're looking for a 1-5. Oh god. Not good. Not good. Yeah, it's not that... Yeah, this is now switched over. Well... Yeah, we want it 5 over and the first tile down. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's the... to block us from going outside Mage's Castle. We need another one right next to it, though. So this will be 6-1 as well. You know what? And before I get too far into that, I think I've messed this up before. I think another function of ours does the row first, then column. Yeah, our map does a row and then a column. Shit. Okay, we do a lot of row column insertions. So I guess we'll leave it. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it. And we'll just get used to it. Yeah, it seems backwards to me to do it like this, but we've kind of built it out in the rest of the game with row then column, so just for consistency's sake, I think we will divert to convention here. Okay, and then in our collidable map objects class, we need to switch these back. Yeah, row then column. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so I guess it just comes down to, let's just double check before we move on and forget we mess with this. Let's check any other time we use it. Those are right. These are right. We'll need to... Yo, Soup, what up? Thank you for the bits, homie. Yes, my work ended a bit early today, so I figured we'll just go for it. Okay, it looks like we messed up. Okay, so what's nice is, like, this is the old way we were instantiating this with, like, a bunch of weird-ass... That's a ton of arguments. Not very understandable or necessary, because we can get rid of the map row and instead convert everything but the width and height to be, you know, now if it's a tile size of 1, that's actually just 1. Now 26 would be a tile size plus 26, which is... This is kind of the nastiness we were trying to fix yesterday, and I was just a little stumped on why we did things the way we did with this function, so glad we're redoing it. But yeah, we want to do... Because... Yeah... See, and here's the issue too. I do use Harpoon, I've got it right here. Okay, so here's the other thing we've got to do. Yeah, I think the other thing we have to do is kind of add a optional offset. because this is fine if all we ever want to do is add a collidable map object that is the shape of, oh god, we screwed this up. Because yeah, this is looking for, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to start this from kind of scratch here. Like, I guess before we, yeah, let's just start it from scratch. We want to add an optional offset as like the fourth and fifth parameters, because not everything we add is a perfect square. So right there, we've got a perfect square. But if we want to shift this thing up, for example, like the left, in order to get us flush in the bed, we have like a left, we need to shift us left by 1, which means we have a non-16 divisible ending point for the width of this. So we could, we could just, yeah, and maybe that's the bad example. The one for the headboard is a better example because it doesn't exist at a perfect tile ID, because like this is the tile I'm standing on, so it's like only the bottom 5 pixels are the tile here. So can I use some logic like I do with the holes where it pulls you to a spot? I definitely could. Yeah, I could tween my values to be bed locked essentially if we walk in a bed. I definitely could do something like that. I think what I used to have I liked, because it's like you have to manually walk into the bed once the headboard's blocked and everything. But I like the idea of like you can kind of stroll in and you'll be set, and then you can walk out, and then it's not until you're in a bed and you interact that it'll ask you if you want to sleep, if you're in the inn and pay coins for it. But oh man, this is gross. Yeah, see, like this is all the before we refactored these 2 parameters, but we have to, because now we say, we're not saying, hey, we're inserting this in 1018 via parameter. We just go to the 1018 collidable map objects and just insert one of these bad boys. And then now we're not saying tile size times 3. We're just saying 3 or 1, whatever tile we want to put it at. So for this one, our bed is at, it's at 2 on the column and 3 on the row. So 2 over and 3 down. So this would be 3, 2 for most of this stuff. So if we say 3, 2 is just where we start out all this stuff. The main square should be where the bed is, which it is. Okay, so now we need to kind of orient these. We have 3 bounding boxes for the bed. We have the foot of the bed, the headboard, and then the bounding side. So we have to kind of, I think we need to add optional parameters here so we can shift this. So let's, yeah, because right now this only takes in a whole number. If we went in to put like plus 2 pixels, it's not plus 2. It'll actually do plus 2 on the tiles. So it's 2 tiles below, not 2 pixels. So we need a way to put fractional, pixels in there. And I guess, yeah, I don't want to get into doing stupid like 0.0125 or whatever to move it pixels worth. I think we'll it's just weird because it's like it gets to be ugly looking at all the parameters, but it's whatever. They're optional, so only when we need these fractional ones will we kind of need them. So it'll be, we'll add a X offset and a Y offset here. Optional. And then we'll say self X offset is going to be offset. We're going to say that this is, yeah, we got to do this. X offset is going to be X offset as the parameter or nothing. And then this is the same. But we need to, we need to update the X and Y position based on this X offset. So if it exists, if it does not equal nil, then we want to also just update our X position to be equal to current X plus our offset. And then same with Y. Okay. So X. So if we have an X offset or Y offset, we're going to update our Y based on that. And then we still just render it at its own X and Y. But we modify its position if it has a valid offset. So that shouldn't change anything we're doing at the moment because it's an optional parameter. But it should allow us to be like, okay, well now, let's start it one at a time. If the first thing we want is the headboard, we're going to say, look, this 26 on the Y, which is like, I think what this 26 is just, it's the Y position if a bed is at a third row. So if we define that 26 in terms of a row of tile size times 3, tile size times 3 is 32, 48. Tile size times 3 would be 48, and then 26 would be 48, 26. 22 pixels above the tile that it's starting at. No, that's too high. I guess let's figure it out, because ideally, yeah, we don't necessarily want to add any custom logic to this collidable map objects that would do things specifically for inserting a bed. But that's where our insert bed function is going to come, right? So we have this insert bed function we tried writing, and it's where we can kind of define these weird little intricacies of the headboard, where the headboard is compared to the base of the bed or the foot of the bed. So I guess let's just do it one at a time, yeah, and just try to find how to do it. So that's the width of the headboard we like, but it is not at the right position. We need to shift it up by, what is it, 8 pixels? 6 pixels? So let's try giving an X offset of 0 and a -6 on the Y, and let's see if it looks like it's a headboard position. It looks pretty good. I can't tell. Yeah, it's not quite what I wanted, because, well, it's not bad. I want to say, right here it's a width of 4. This is our old one. We have it says wide as a tile size. It's 4 pixels high. We have the same dimensions. Let me try to scoot it up only by 5 pixels and see. No, okay. So that it is looking right. So let's leave it for now. Let's do the left side of the bed, which is, it's going to be its starting position, but on the Y, actually, row is 3. Width is 2. We want width to be 1. So it looks weird. I'm going to put a -1 in there just to signify that we need to subtract a tile size for when we write our little function for it. Okay, so that's, yeah, okay. We need to scoot this up. This goes back to 6. Okay. Okay. We needed a width of 17. So we'll add that +1. Because that is... I guess that's this one. Yeah. Yeah. It still doesn't look... It's not sticking out. Well, we are adding multiple objects there. Let's just try to do this. XY width, there we go. Width is the 16. Height is still just tile size. Okay, so we're looking to kind of get flush up against there. Nice. So now, yeah, now we're like perfectly centered in the bed when we face downwards. So now we need that last bottom bed bit. And this is I guess it's this one. Man, it's so, looking at these numbers drives me crazy. Like, not very pretty. But like, this is why we're trying to put it into a function so that we can just say what tile row and column we want a bed, and then it can just input it, so we don't have to do this junk again. Because the inn has like 4 beds, and I just didn't want to be finicking with this. And there's gonna be inns. There's gonna be a couple inns like in every biome, right, for you to go heal up at. So I figured it's probably good to just get this smooth-ish. So, which one are we missing? We've got this +1. Okay, so I think our bottom bed is going to look a lot like this, which is an X and Y of... Look at the width is a tile size, so let's give a width of tile size, and a height of whatever the... See, this is weird. A height, width and height. Oh, this is the... We scoot it up by 6. So we take whatever row we're at, and we lift it up by 6. So I guess that's just our Y offset. So we'll give our X offset of 0, and then we'll give a -6 for the Y offset. Oh, this might be the headboard. Yeah, we need the foot, which... I couldn't tell you what the heck this one is. Let's see. Well, the issue is we have these old parameters. Okay. I'm a little confused. If we think about it, right, the headboard is at the same X of our bed, or the foot, the bottom foot of our bed is at the same X as our headboard. So we need the same row and column as the headboard, but the headboard, or the foot will have at least a tile size offset on the Y. So if we just do that and see what it looks like, it should be closer, closer to the bottom. So instead of a whole bottom, we need to shift it up by however much amount to make us flush here when we face down while we're tucked in bed, essentially. So it's not just a tile size, it's also an offset of maybe half a tile size. I don't know exactly, but let's see. Okay, so actually that's really close because we can walk in. It looks like we can afford to scoot it up one less pixel, and then we might have like a tight fitting bed right there. There we go. Yeah. So no matter how far left we walk, we're centered. And no matter how far down we walk, our head is just kind of tucked in like that. Maybe one more pixel of leeway so that the covers like go up to our chin or something. Yeah, I think that looks better. Because he looks like a little marshmallow. Yeah. Yeah. Get his shoulders tucked in there. Okay. Okay, so we just need to shift the height, right, by however much. Width and height. Let's try to divide it by 2 in a height of 8. Because ultimately, we need to do this on the other scene so that we can see if there's no treasure chest right beneath it. If we don't see the top level tile bed sheet render on top of us. So where is our inn? Right here. Let's say that, okay, our 1018 we're going to insert into 211. And we're going to do the same ones, but we're going to spawn us into 211. Which we have right here. And then we'll see if the bottom, see, this is what I was worried about. I didn't want our head to be rendering under the bed sheets here. So it looks like we need to scoot our width down by 2 or 3 actually. So yeah, when we go to do this, we want the width to be 3 taller. Okay. So now, okay, that's good. Now our head cannot be rendered under the sheet, and then we kind of just tuck ourselves in. So let's do this where instead of inserting a bed just yet, because we still have to do that, let's just go to our collidable map objects, and we'll just we'll turn off the render so that we can just see that it looks like something we're happy with. So yeah, we can't. Ideally, we would literally change the render order layer so that we could get as close to the bed, so like our head would render in front of the bed. We just don't have that capability yet, or right now. So at least we can kind of tuck ourselves into bed. You can't walk in unless you're kind of lined up with the headboard, but then you're kind of invited to tuck yourself in. So it's looking good. We just need to modify this so it's a little cleaner based on, I guess the offset is nice because it doesn't matter where we spawn it, it's just relative to its original position we spawned it in at, so that's nice. But we will need to do like a custom option of either it's a left bed or right bed to get the opposite side inserted so that you can't walk directly. Oh, and look at this. Our nose doesn't touch here. So we can probably take one off of the width of basically all of these except for the left side. Yeah, let's get this back. We'll render this back. And we want to go, when we're inserting them, let's say that the width here, x, y, width and height. So we're going to minus a 1. The left one is fine. It needs a bigger width, but then this width needs a minus 1 as well, so that we leave room for our nose gap. So our nose can be flush. There we go. Nice. Okay. Okay. It doesn't look, it doesn't look amazing. There's a little bit of wiggle room for the headboard. There's a little wiggle room. But I think that's okay, because if there were no wiggle room, you'd have to be pixel perfect when you walk into it. And I want to give at least a little bit of, at least a 1 pixel wiggle room, so you don't have to be so frame perfect. Pixel perfect. Okay, so if this is our new collidable map insertion, still looks nasty. It's better than the old one, but still nasty. We're trying to outsource this to our little function here. So let's define these in terms of the function call here. So we go to do, let's see, this is so weird. Okay. We don't actually should. 211. Okay, 211 is the one we're doing. Okay, so the first 2 arguments are which map row, map column. That's how we know where to put it. That's okay. We could take this out and do it the same way of how we're doing it here, where we say, let's go into 211 and insert. I don't know, actually. Yeah, I think this is fine. So like we'll say on 211, it's a left option, put it at 2.3, and it's actually row and column, because see, we have 3.2 as the first 2 arguments here, but then 2.3 when we do it here, and that's just wrong. Let's see. So if options left, we don't want left, and then, okay, 2 and 3, row and then column. Is that right? 3rd row, column 2. Okay, I think that is right. But then we don't need these nil anymore. Okay, but scene row, okay, then we need a width and a height, and width is, at least for this one, -1. This is the +1 to give us the offset, at least for a left option. And then this one is a tile, what? Width and height. Width, we might have screwed this up. Okay, width is also a -1 on here. Then we need the height and then the X offset, which in here, height of 4, that looks right. Height of tile size, and then a height of half a tile size +3. Okay, we're just going to copy over the Y offset for the footboard, and then we might be okay. Oh, we need the Y offset for the headboard too, to shift it up. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're essentially doing this same thing, except we're doing it based on a function call, so that we can say, just insert a bed into map 211. It's on the left side, and it's just and we could we could determine the option based on the row. Maybe we do that. So like, we don't need to say left, because if our scene row is equal to 2, then we know we need to do this. So if we can say if our scene row is equal to 2, then we know it's a left bed, so therefore do the left bed insert logic. Okay, so now we just have turned down those 3 insertions into one function call that we can reuse and place beds wherever we want, except it is all jacked up. Oops. Okay, let's walk it through. Scene row, scene call. Well, we need to pass 3, then 2, I think. Okay, well, that's worse. Scene row and column. Scene row is 3. Row. Column. Shit. Okay, it's just really off. It's off by like a whole tile size. So 3 and 2, 3 and 2. See, I feel like we just swapped it around. Because the first thing we're passing in up here is 3, then 2. So that means we need to pass in 3 here and 2 here. But we're passing in 2, then 3. So let's switch it. So it's, yeah, it should be row, then column. But we don't see anything when we do that. Okay, well, something else is wrong. We say row, column. Oh, this one at least has a -1 for our tile size. Doesn't explain why we don't see anything else, though. But we also... Oh, yeah, this should be column if the column is 2. And then... Yeah, the column needs to subtract a tile size. Actually, no, this is just 1, -1. Okay, we should see it now. Nice. Okay, sweet. Got a little bed. So now nothing's different other than we just did like one function call for this. So let's, you know, this should be as easy as saying, okay, well, if this was a bed at 3, 2, now we want a bed at 4, 5, 6, 2. So let's say we had one at 3, 2, now we want a 6, 2. And now we should have both beds on the left side here. Sweet. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay. So now we need the right bed option. It's kind of weird, you know. I mean, it's kind of weird that there's just like 4 beds in the inn, but like, what are you supposed to have in an inn, you know? Like a little kitchen or something. I kind of like that you could pick whatever bed you want and there's not just like one bed. It is kind of weird though. Weird because the guy's just like standing here being like, pay me money while I watch you sleep. There's 0 privacy. Yeah, I don't get paid enough to program in privacy into the game, you know. Maybe there could be... Yeah, no, you're right, you're right. There probably should be like a little wall of a room. Yeah, you're kind of right. Even if it's like a quarter wall, just to give you some privacy. Yeah, it does look weird. It looks so plain, right? A Minecraft villager house? Yeah, dude, it's like as basic as it gets. Yeah, maybe we will add a little privacy wall. Or like a little corner. I don't want it to be too thick, though. You know, I don't want it to be like a whole tile size thick of a wall. Yeah. It's funny, man. It's been a wild trip. I know. Well, and the thing is, Soup, he's not friendly. Like, he's supposed to be standoffish. Basically, everyone in the village is supposed to be really standoffish to you at the beginning of the game because the mages are why everything is corrupted. So everyone is supposed to be mad at you at the beginning of the game here. So yeah, he looks like he's happy to charge you the money, you know. That's the only time he's happy is when his money purse jingles. Okay, nice. Well, it's really easy to add a bed now. We've got an insert bed function. But we need to do it where we can also do a bed if the column is 8. Let me think. No, 7. Because it is 8 tiles wide. 10 tiles wide. Okay, so it's 9. If it's the column from the edge of the wall, then we need to insert a bed, except everything's the same except for the wall, and the wall needs to be put at a column +1 with an X offset of -1. Is that right? And then we can say, okay, well now our bed is still at 2, but it's not at 2, it's at 9. Still at 3, but at the right side. Let's see. Wow, did we nail that? We just one-shot that thing. Hell yeah. Okay, and then we need 6, 9 as well. Nice. And then we've got our 4 beds. Sweet. Yeah, the privacy is really freaking me out now. You know, because it's like if we had, you know, just like a little corner, like, I don't know, like little privacy corners. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm really worried about it. No, I mean, I agree with you. You know, I agree with you. But the fact that this guy's so mean, and it's just like it's like a, what do they call it? A hostel. A hostel, just like bare bones, freaking cots on the floor, and that's it. Yeah. Well, because now, I don't know. Now I'm kind of thinking like maybe, because we have to think about how you actually purchase the bed. And what I was thinking is like, well, either you can walk up to the guy and he'll say, cost you 5 coins a night or whatever. And then he'll say, do you want to buy a bed or do you want to rest a night or whatever? Then you get the option. But then once you pay it, then what will it do? Will it tween your ass over into the bed? Because I kind of like it where he'll tell you it costs a night, well, I don't know, because I'm thinking you walk into the bed and you interact with it, right? You just hit the A button once you're in the bed here, and whether you're facing up, yeah, no matter what you're facing, if you're just in the bed location, then yeah, maybe we do it. You have to face, I don't know, face either down or up. Then when you interact with it, it'll say, when you walk past, he asks for the fee. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like if you don't even talk to him and you just try to walk into the bed and hit A, it'll say, do you want to rest for 5 coins or whatever? And then you just do it in the dialog box there, and then it'll cut to you going sideways and then closing your eyes and then fade to black and then fade from black, and you'll face this way, and then you can walk out. Because like I don't really necessarily want to have to talk to him every time and then walk your ass over after you've bought it. Like I think that's just too much to kind of keep track of. So I'm kind of thinking we might just add dialog boxes right beneath and to the side of each bed, and only if we do, yeah, exactly, yeah, he probably doesn't even want to talk anyway. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that because I don't know, it's hard for me at this point to be like, this is what I want because it's actually what I want, or if it's like, this is what I want because this is what I know how to do easier than the other way, so it's hard for me to be honest with myself about that, especially when we're trying to just get this demo out. But I think this is fine, like, because there's going to be other inns in other biomes, and you shouldn't have to really walk up to him and then buy it and then walk yourself to the bed. I think it makes more sense to just go to the bed and interact with it. And if you don't know what it costs, you can talk to him beforehand, or it'll give you the option here. Now we don't have a dialog box option for resting. I'm trying to think of how we want to do this. We probably need the inn to be its own state machine. Because, you know what? We need to scoot our X positions to the left one so that our nose can go, well, actually, no, this is right. Oh, that looks right, actually. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think we just try to add a dialog box here. We will have to probably make our own state machine, because what I'm trying to avoid is let me think. Because yeah, if we don't really have a fade to black. Actually, I think we do have fade to black logic for the, yeah, okay. We do have fade to black logic. Okay, we probably don't need a state machine just yet. I'm kind of toying with the idea of having a state machine for every inside building so that we can do things like not trigger the magic system while we're indoors. Just so just so that when you're interacting with people, you're not accidentally casting magic, So like, I think that's a little distracting. So we might just have, yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think we need a whole different state machine for this. We probably just need a way to toggle, just a boolean of magic allowed getting false if we're warp zoning into an inn or a refinery or anything like that. Just because, for like this, I don't like that you can see yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool that you can pause the game effectively and see the state of your magic, but I don't think that needs to be inside the inn. Okay, so it shouldn't be that tough to add the dialogue box. We've got the logic for it. It's just that, for example, our dialogue box is generated based off of our player walk state. So if we go look at our player walk state, we have a little toggle here that is called, actually it's even just in our player class. It's called this dialogue box detection. So we have a little square in front of us that is the hitbox for what we go to interact with when talking. So like we can talk to him because it reaches him. So we need to add a dialogue box, beneath us so that when we're in a bed we can go interact with it. But if we're here facing up, we don't want it to allow you to purchase the bed because you're not inside the bed. So I think we'll put one, we'll start with the left side and we'll put one directly to the left so you can interact with it here or here. And you have to be either facing left or facing down when you collide with either of these two. So if you're here and interact with it, you're facing up, so it won't work. And here you're not facing it, so that's the idea. So let's see if we can do that. So we have a dialogue box. Now, the tough thing too is we needed to ask a question. Purchase a bed for 5 coins. Or would you like to rest for 5 coins? Something like that. And it needs to have a yes or no, which we do have option for, but it is called meditate, which I guess is fine, because what meditate does, well, meditate changes you so that you're kind of sitting down, and it probably looks wrong in bed if you meditate. I'm kind of curious now, so maybe we'll try it. Because if we have a type of meditate dialogue box, we'll probably have to have a type of bed, rest, or whatever. Because we have this idle type parameter here in the dialogue box. So let's see where we go to do the in. We're going to say give us the beds, and then go and insert into our 211, which is where our in is. Go into 211 and give us a dialogue box. Now we need this to the left side of our bed, of our top left bed, which is at, see, and is this row then column? X and Y. X and Y. Okay, well, X being tile size. No, it would be 0 because it needs to be to the left of us. So it'd be 0 and then a tile size of times 2. 1 would be the... I think this is just a tile size. Okay. So, it is a tile size times 2. But we have this thing. We didn't print up the dialogue box. We had the option, but we have this NPC, we have this option, NPC and index. Dialogue box index. Oh, it's going to be an index of 2, I think. Well, I don't exactly know. Because we have... Oh, there it goes. The first dialogue box is this guy. So we have to kind of, you know, at least the way I did it was like I said, oh, actually, dude, the sleep works perfect. Yeah, we might get away with just using the idle because he looks like he's asleep. Oh my god, that's perfect. And then if you move, you wake up. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to just reuse that. That might be perfect. Yeah, maybe it doesn't even need to fade to black. Just like if you sleep, you get your health and then you're good. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a quick fade to black? It is pretty apparent he's sleeping, right? Like... Okay, it might be perfect. But the thing is here, you know, we need to be able to determine from a dialog box if the type was a bed purchase and what it costs to purchase the bed, and if we had the inventory to actually afford it. So, you know, if we don't have 5 coins, it needs to kind of beep at us or say, you don't have enough coin. Which is one thing. Let's say rest for 5 coin. Let's see if this fits on one line. Oh. We don't have an easy way to do this. We don't have an easy way to make a different part of the dialogue on a new line or anything. We could I don't know. Cuz it's like, I don't know, I'm getting a little overwhelmed cuz there's a bunch of things that go into this, like right now we're just interacting with the dialog box object, so it doesn't know that we're interacting with an in option, right? So it doesn't know that if we hit yes, it should check our inventory if we have enough, and it doesn't know if we hit yes to deduct our inventory and give us full health. It doesn't know that just yet, but the logic for that is baked away into the dialog class object, which we'd have to give it an in object so that we can do this. But in terms of like getting okay, part of me is thinking, just like how meditate said meditate ? This will just say rest. And what it'll do is it'll also show you your inventory above the dialog box, your coin inventory. So it'll tell you how many coins you have, and then if you hit yes and you don't have enough coins, it'll say you need 5 coins to rest, or it costs 5 coins to rest. And then the dialog box will exit. I'm trying to think of how we did a multi-page appending like we did for the refinery, because we did this for the refinery where if you don't have enough coins, it'll say you don't have enough coins, and it kind of appends that to the dialog box in case you didn't have it, or in the case of you not having it. So we'd want to do something similar here where we say rest, yes or no, and if you say yes, it'll say cha-ching, and it'll deduct your coin inventory on screen right in front of you so you can see that you paid for it. Because right now, coins are only used in the inn. Like, we don't have any other use for them. So if, feel too bad if someone walks into the inn, doesn't talk to the guy, and tries to rest for free, not realizing it would eat up 5 of their coins, because coins are plentiful, and this is the only place to spend them. So I think this is okay. I think we'll just put rest, but we want to give this a type of inn, which we have to define. So that's pretty sweet. Okay. So it's nice, you know, because it's like, if you don't rest, it doesn't rest you. If you do rest, it does rest you. But it also should deduct your coins. So I guess let's first just modify our dialog box class to take in an option of resting. And it'll do at least the same as what meditate is doing, which is change the player sprite and direction to down and idle state or whatever it is. It'll do the same thing, but it'll also render the coin inventory, and it'll also do this page appending if you don't have enough coin. Yeah, so that's going to be the tough part, I think, is if you don't have enough coin, it needs to know, oh, you don't have enough coin, so I'm going to append a new dialogue that prints up one character at a time that says you need, or it costs 5 coins to rest here. Yeah, something like that. And then we'll change the innkeeper to say, grab a bed here if you want to heal up. It's going to cost you though, or something like that. And then when you go to do it, it'll say it costs 5 coins or whatever. I'm not too worried about it. Coins are pretty plentiful, and there's plenty of crates in the dungeon, so you can always get some coins there. But then again, you know, it's the only way to get hearts is in crates via heart or via coin. I don't know if I want to make it, because now I'm thinking about it, there's no reason that you wouldn't just farm hearts instead of coin unless it costs you more hearts farming than to just buy a full health pack, essentially. So I'm trying to think how I want the hearts to work in this game. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like Link's Awakening, where you start out with 3 hearts, and every 4 heart containers you get a new heart. Or if it's going to be more like Breath of the Wild, where it's like, well, you have certain cooks that you can do that upgrade your total heart. Because it's like maybe we have this, you know, maybe we have 7 hearts, period, but we only start the game with 3. And if we find more hearts, then we get more hearts. But I don't know. I guess for the demo, at least, we won't do the heart containers. But I think I would want to do it for the rest of the game. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. And we'll try to get purchasing a nap working in the game here. So I'll be right back. just mixing up some yogurt I got. Yeah, so we got a couple of things to do. At the moment, it looks like it works, right? You know, it doesn't actually deduct your coins or anything. So, first step is to make this not idle, but rest option. Right now we don't have a rest option, so it'll probably just do nothing. It just asks rest. Okay. Okay. So, a little weird, right? We've got this meditate option. Okay, dude, okay. This is what hand-rolling a dialogue system kind of sucks for, right? Like, well, if we're on the last page, right, which we are by the time action is pressed, since there's only one page when we're asking what if you want to rest, then we're saying, well, we're going to say, you know, well, if meditation option, or else if rest option, and then we're gonna say rest. We want a lot of the same functionality, right? We want to change to a meditate state. We want to reset our vibrancy for our element. We want to become rest, yes. Which, that doesn't seem right. What the heck is meditate, yes? I don't know. If the option for the dialog box is idle, we press up or down, then we kind of swap meditate yes. Okay, so meditate yes is the selector for yes or no on the meditate. So rest yes would be, if rest yes is true, the arrow selector is on yes. If it's false, it should be no. So we need something like this for a rest option. But it looks like we screwed up our something somewhere. If else. Okay. So if okay. Then we need a thing here. If if meditate option. Kind of need a else if not rest option. Okay. I have no idea. Let's make sure our dialog box has the correct default values here for initialization, rest option, as well as a rest yes. Okay. Let's see. We messed up our else if in here. Near 506. So it looks like we messed it up here. Else. Oh, yeah. Let's take this out. If not rest option, let's take this all out. I want to say this is going to screw everything up. Okay. Because we're saying, why do we do this, man? So this is in the render, and we're saying, well, if we're not a meditate option, draw this text advance. Otherwise, check if we're meditate yes. If so, render this. Now we aren't printing. We aren't printing our line result anymore. Oh, here. Okay, so if meditate option or rest option, then print yes or no. Let's see if that works. I don't see the option. Okay, we need to do this. Where do we say meditate option gets true? Here. Okay. For right now, we can do this and say, well, if our option is equal to that of rest, we need to activate our rest option. Okay. Now we should see the yes or no on the rest here. Okay. Now we still need our arrow selector, so let's get that. Meditate option. Now, I don't see the selector, which means something's not right here. We're rendering text advances the little arrow that blinks to signify that there's another page of text. So if not meditate option, yeah, or not rest option. But if it is, else if self.rest option. Okay, so I don't know, we should see the little selector. We shouldn't be seeing this. I feel like we are doing rest. Right? For the map declarations, rest. Yes, rest. I don't know. We're not seeing rest, yes. And we are seeing I don't know, I want to say that it's not printing the option. Let's test. Or it's not registering the option. Let's test here. Okay, it knows we're in a rest. It knows we're in a rest, but then does rest option get set? Yeah, rest option gets set. So does rest yes get set? Yes, it does. So, why is it broken? Everything seems to be good except the render here. So, if not meditation option, then we're going to render the text advance. This is weird. We still don't see, we do not see this at all. Love.graphics.draw arrow selector. We don't see this for rest option yes here. So we must be setting meditate option true. Because I bet if we were to pull this out, yeah, I bet if we were able to pull this out and just do it here, I bet we would see it. Let's see. We would see the yes or no. Yeah. See, so I think something's happening here. I think something's happening right here, right where meditate option is also true for a rest. So once we do, let's see, meditate option, we're saying well, let's print up, meditate option true if it's an idle, okay. But meditate option false there, false there. Why do we have it twice? What the heck? What the heck? We have it once at 45 and once at 184. This is weird. Let's print up if meditate option's true. I bet it's true. No. It is correctly false. So why the heck? Why are we not printing this? So if it is not meditation option, oh, it'll render the text advance no matter what. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is wrong. Basically what we want to do is check, I think this is the first step. Okay, let's try this. I will delete this once we're done. But let's just take this. We'll first check the meditate option. And we'll say, well, if we're meditate option, then let's render those. If it's rest option, let's render those. Then the else will be the default text advance. So if it's not either of those, then we're going to render the text advance. That should work. Because, yeah, we were hitting meditate option false and exiting out. There we go. Cool. So rest does rest us. Okay. So now we have a rest option, but it doesn't actually cost coins. It doesn't actually heal us up. So we have to do that, but we have to also... Yeah, the hard thing is if we don't have the coinage, we can do something now where if the dialog box is a rest option, it's going to show our inventory of coins on screen. So maybe that's step one. But we need to basically, once we hit the action button on the last page, if our rest yes was checked, then we need to check if we have enough inventory. If we do, we just deduct our coins and then allow them to exit out, or say like, I don't know, you've rested, you took a nap or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's the hard part, is going to be to add a page of dialogue if we don't have the money for it. So I want to tackle that first because that's the hardest thing. We did something similar with our upgrade element. So like, see how we have this reinit? Oh god, man. What did we do for this? Fuck. Oh, we have this reinit. Oh man. What did we do? The reinit was how we got it to print up the same line of text again. But this doesn't give us a way to append a new table. Because I thought if we did, I thought we had some sort of something that said you cannot afford this, or you would need X amount of money for it. You need, yeah, look at this. You have already unlocked. Okay. Man, I don't know what we did here. doesn't look like we're appending a new table. I'm gonna have to check it out. Because right now, the dialog box just has a text field of rest. And what we want to happen is if we hit yes, we want it to say, you just took a nap. Or if you hit yes and you didn't have the money, it'll say, you need 5 coins to rest, or it costs 5 coins to rest. So what we're doing differently with the refinery system is we're doing this thing called re-initting, which is flushing the string field of our dialog box dependent on a keyboard selection. So when we do this handle selection or whatever, or actually it would be input pressed. See this handle upgrade selection. So when do we do this thing called re-init? See, look, if our input is down, we're reinitializing a dialog box. So if we could technically reinitialize it, but what does reinit take in? It takes in a string of what to populate. Let's see where we define this reinit. It's on a dialog box object, so let's see. Re-init, it does take in a text. Okay. So the idea is, yeah, we should be able to just self-re-init a lot like this, where we just run init on our current dialog box index and just pass in the string of what we want it to say. So it doesn't really append a page, it really just flushes everything and reinitializes with whatever text you give it. So let's try this in our dialog box. If we are a type of rest, we have this rest option true. Now, when we go to hit when we go to hit enter, like right here. So input is action. That's the A button. We're going to say, well, if we're rest yes, let's just test this out and just say our very own dialog box is going to reinitialize with a test saying, oh yeah, just to test. I think let's see. So if we hit yes and it's a rest, which it should be here, it's a rest option. We hit yes. It just did not do the thing. It did not reinitialize. It did not do anything. Let's try to do it like we did it here, which was we did it in the upgrade element. We have to reinit and then flush text become activated, because reinitializing takes out the activation. So let's and you know what? We don't have a index, right? Oh, we do have an index. Okay. So let's go try this again. Action is pressed. Action is pressed. We're on the last page. We're going to say if it's a rest option and it was a rest yes, we're going to say, well, let's just say we want to self-re-init. So all of this, yeah, I think we want to do this and say, okay, well, we're going to self-re-init, and then we're going to self-flush text, and then we're going to self-activate. And if this doesn't work, I might be a little stumped. So we're going to give it a test string of okay, so we're going to go try to rest. It did not initialize, and it got rid of the dialog box activation. So, what? Shoot. I'm curious if we just try to rest right now and try to rest again, if it would let us, or if we're missing something. Okay, so it doesn't go away. Okay, I don't know why we can't just re-init like this. We should be able to re-init like this. Self dialog box at self dialog ID. The only thing we aren't doing is incrementing this button count, but we re-init. So that should flush it, right? I don't know, a button count, that's the only thing we have done different. So let's just say let's just try it. It should say, you know, we're looking for a new line of dialogue here. Shit. See, and that's weird. It's just like it completely turns off at this point. Shoot, man. Because the re-init is what handles the line result population. Because, yeah, it has a timer and it resets all that stuff. It's already kind of doing this. I just don't get why it doesn't like this. Rest yes, rest yes. If rest option. Let's try this where we, if it's, let's just try it right there. Might have to try it. Why does it go away? That's what I really don't get. It's like you can cast spells in your sleep. We know rest yes is working. Now, one thing that's happening, you know, we're closing the dialog box because we are at the end of a page and action is pressed. So maybe this finish printing, where are we using this finish printing? Is this in the reinit? This should be in the reinit. Yeah. Shoot. Okay, let's try one more thing. If this isn't it, then I might just need to take a break. So we're gonna look at where we're doing this successfully, which is in the refinery state. We do a reinit right here. Okay, let's try this. We'll just hard code it for now and just see if it works. If it doesn't work, I think I might just need to take a break. So if it's a rest option, which we can only do right here on this bed, we're gonna change the bed is at 211. So this, all these should be 2. So 211 dialog box 2, that's right. We're gonna say that the 211 at dialog box 2 gets incremented on the A button count. That should be right. We're gonna reinit with a string of hello. We're gonna flush our text. We're gonna become activated. Okay, if this doesn't work, I don't know what to do. Okay. It goes away, which I just do not understand. So it might be a simple thing we're overlooking here, like a simple boolean on something that needs to be added to the reinit. Because one thing I also don't get is, why does the page close? The page closes. I don't get why the page would close necessarily. Well, we become finished printing, we become activated no longer, we clear our A button count, we become unpaused, we flush our text, we flush our active dialog ID. Yeah, see, this is weird. We don't want to do like any of this junk. Because what we're doing, let's try to just add a blank page so that we're not on the last page. But then we wouldn't ever init this. Should. Because I think the difference is we're kind of re-initting after we've closed the dialog box, when we really should do it before we do that. So I don't know. I'm kind of wanting to try to do this where we say, let's just say if we're, this is just a test, right? We're going to say, well, if we press action in a dialog box, we're going to ask if it's rest yes. We're going to try to re-init and become activated. And then, I don't know, I'd want to break out of this loop altogether. Or it's not even, it's a condition, not a loop, so I don't know if it'll allow me to break. Okay, well, we did re-init with the hello there. So it is an issue. It is an issue of it being on the last page. So I still don't get why. Okay, well, it's, you know, we're kind of on the right track. Yeah, I think the issue is this stuff is just so buried. I think we only want to do this advancement if we're not a rest option. If we are a rest option, then hitting A will populate with the appropriate text, right? So I think we want to kind of do this. I don't know. I feel like we want to kind of do this, you know, right here. We're going to say and not self dot rest option. So if we're not a rest option, we're going to be doing this kind of junk. So let's just test something where we can just say if input pressed is down, then if our rest option's true, then we're just going to re-init this with hello. We're going to re-init it. Okay, so now if we press input down, it should reset, should re-init us. Nice. Okay, so we don't want it on down. We want it if action's pressed, right? So if we action press, then if we're rest option, then if we're rest option, yeah, then if we're rest yes, then we want to re-init with you just took a nap or whatever, right? But if we're not rest option yes, it'll say, you know, go try again, come back when you got some money, sort of deal. So let's try this. So come back with money next time, or you took a nap. Just to try this, okay? So we're listening for an action, and why does this happen to me? Okay. All right, you took a nap. Shoot. Come back with money next time, or you took a nap. Yes. So it's close, right? The thing that's happening here is that it's populating with the default for a rest yes, because that's what we defaulted to. So it's that we were listening for an action if our A button is greater than 1. So if our A button count is greater than 1 at this point, then we want to check this stuff so that we get the default text string before we actually select anything, and then it gives us the result, which is, it says rest. If we yes, it says you took a nap. If we no, it says come back with money next time. So instead of triggering this based on yes or no, we need to trigger this based on if we actually have the money to nap, which is sad. You gotta not be a brokey if you want to sleep in this world. You can meditate for free all day, but if you want a nap, it costs 5. So it's close. It's just that I feel like I had to press twice on the input to get it to say Yeah. If action is 1, we do this. Oh, we need to... Well, if we press action, we count it here. Huh. Let's print up this A button count and see if it is right. Oh. Okay, I don't get why it's wrong. Because we press action if it's greater than or equal to 1. Come back with money next time. You took a nap. Okay. That's looking right. I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll be right back. Okay, so I guess let's, this is what I was most worried about. Since we got this halfway worked out, let's try to get our inventory, our coin inventory on screen here, so we can even see if we're rich enough to sleep. So, in our render, we want to do this thing, which is, we want to print up, we want to draw our coin, which, do we have it? I know we have it in our pause state. Coin count, coin count. We're rendering a coin, I know we are. I just don't know what it's called. Graphics coin. We don't even have a global coin for this. Let's add that. We really don't have a coin? We don't. Okay. Well. Coin is graphics coin. So let's try to, in our dialog box, we're going to say, let's draw a coin and we'll put it at an X of virtual width minus maybe 30, I don't know. And then Y of screen height limit minus, I don't know, 10. Let's see if a coin is looking okay there. But we want to do this only if it's a rest option. Yeah, so we've got a little coin there, but we want to do it just like we've got in our inventory. So just like that. So when we go to render our inventory, we want to do exactly that. So let's check. Oops. What did I just do, man? Pause state. And we're looking for when we render the coin. Coin count. Oh, where? Oh, wow. Okay, we're rendering it as part of the PNG, not even piecing it together. So this is okay, but this is wrong location. But we want to go to our dialog box, and we'll say, okay, well, we want to shift this by our dialog box height, which, where do we draw? You know, we have a starting point Y for our dialog box, which is this minus 40. Screen height limit minus 40. So we'll do that. You know, we're gonna say screen height limit minus 40. That'll get us to be as tall as the dialog box, but we want to shift it by maybe another extra 10 because the coin has a height of like 6 or something. So let's maybe try shifting that up and see if, you know, we'll give it an X of something very similar, which is minus, yeah, let's do this where we say, let's just say minus like 56. You know, I don't know what we want this to be yet. I don't know how wide the coin is, but we want the Y to at least be the same screen height limit, minus 40. Because we're trying to see our coin inventory when we go. Okay, let's get in there. Yeah, we want it more flush, but we also want to do this not on every dialog box, right? Because right here, if we're talking to him, it'll say it too, which is not right. And we probably want to change the render order layer to be before we render the main page, so that we don't overlap on anything. So let's maybe move this before we even draw our background. So let's do this. We only want to do this if our rest option is true. Yeah, for sure, Tim Jenkins. Yeah, I would do that. At least for, you know, I mean, I do other languages, so it's not like I only have to do Lua. So I would still pick Lua again if I had to start right now. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think any, every engine, every language is going to have its own frustrations, but that's just part of the process with programming. It's all just trial and error. Okay, basically, I just need to find, we just need to get happy with the coordinates that we're rendering the inventory over here, which we can just say there's an inventory X and inventory Y, and we can kind of just, right now, the X is at a virtual width minus 56, but probably be like minus 20 or something. And then the Y just needs to be scoot up a bit, so we'll just do like a minus. And I do it like this because I don't know. I do the minus 40, minus 15 just because 40 gets us to the top and then 15 is the rest, so it's like just to kind of visualize how many pixels we need. Then we can replace this with inventory X. Whoa. Okay. Okay, it's not quite good. We need to scoot Y down maybe 4 pixels, and then X left maybe 8 pixels. So 4 down, 8 over. So let's say this is a minus 10. I already forgot the numbers I said, but let's see. Okay, so a little higher. And a little lefter. Okay. And then we're gonna put like a little outline, a box colored outline above it so we can see it. A little lower, a little. Because the coin and the text have the same inventory X. So it's like the coin, when we go to do the coin, we need to shift it left to offset the coin width and also shift it down, I think. That's close, that's close. So like left one more and then that looks good. Okay, that looks good. Now that is our inventory, it's pulling. And if we were to talk to this guy, it doesn't render in a dialog box, it just renders in a dialog box with a rest option. So that's good. But also, we don't see, oh shoot, yeah, we're not seeing the default text of rest at this point. So that's still not working. I think that's where the greater than or equal to 1 came in. Because if we have this back at greater than, it'll say rest. But greater than 1. I don't know, this is close, but let's try to get the background working. Okay, so I'm trying to get a little background so we can see the inventory clearly. So we already have an X and Y for the inventory. So let's try to do this, which is let's put at an inventory X and an inventory Y. A little box. If we look at what that is, it should be just a dark black box. Yeah, so it needs to be shifted by more than the coin, right? So we need enough space to cover the coins. So this probably needs to be shifted another 20 or so. And it's like, this is very particular to the rest. I'm not worried about getting nice numbers exactly. I don't want to really need it to be so pretty. We just want to get the numbers in there. There we go. I think the coin can go up 1, and this box can go left 1 and down 1. So this should be left 1 and down 1, and the coin can be up 1. That's looking good. So this black box functions as like a sort of drop shadow. So by the time we do this next one, this is the lighter colored. So we're going to say it's a minus 14 instead of 15. So it can kind of render over this one. So this would be a +2 on an inventory Y. So now we should see that same kind of gray color or tan color. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Coin can be everything, but the coin looks okay. Coin looks like it can be down 1, but yeah, I think if we move the coin down 1, it's just off. We might have to give us one more pixel on the... Yeah, let's shrink. Yeah, you know what? We'll shrink. Yo, what up, Salto? It's going. We forgot about the freaking inn where we have to sleep. It's like the only way to heal in the game right now. So, like, we forgot about this. So, I've been trying to haul ass and trying to get this done so that we can continue chugging along. But we're almost there. You know, we got 4 beds. We've got the ability to kind of place a rest thing. And if we were to actually rest, he does go to the right animation state and everything. So we're almost done with it. We're just, you know, want to scoot the text down one and scoot. Let's scoot this down and scoot the text down by 1 also. Well, we did scoot it down with the inventory, so let's see. It's always something, dude. Okay, it's just what? It's just the text that can be down. It looks off. It looks off. Yeah, the text looks too low, but if we scoot it up even 1 pixel, it looks too high. So the only thing we can do about that is, yeah, I mean, it sucks because the coin is also like an odd number of pixels tall, so that's symmetrical for the coin. So I think we're just gonna have to run with this. This is fine. So that is pulling our coin inventory, which right now we just have none. So it's technically right. Now, you know, we don't have any of those inventory or those rest options here. So the next step is to make sure that we have the right thing, which it says rest at first, and then as soon as you press 1 button, it initiates the next result, which is if you hit yes and you had 5, because it costs 5 to sleep, then it'll say you just took a nap or something. And if you don't have the 5, it'll say you need to come back or you can't afford to sleep. So it'll say that, and then if you hit no, the dialog box should just close right away. Okay. So we just need to get this right here. If, you know, we do this thing where if action button, or if the, see, so the issue is when we hit action, it closes our page because we're on the last page. So we wanted to pull out this reinit of a dialog box so that hitting action didn't just close the page even though you were on the last page, because we needed to reinitialize the text. So it's just like, I don't know, it's hard for me to think how to do this, because if we turn this back down to greater than 1, then it does say rest at the beginning, but then you have to hit the option twice. It's like it'll say rest. If you hit yes, it does nothing. I just hit it, and then it'll do that thing, and then it gets stuck in a loop because it doesn't care if it's on the last page. It just reinitializes it. So that's like a twofold error, but it's almost like we need to just do this, you know, it's like we just needed either do this, well, fuck, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Because if we reinitialize this, we have the ability to put new text in there instead of closing the page. So if we were to say before we close the page, we say, well, if it's a rest option, let's not close the page and let's just reinitialize this instead. But that still doesn't give us the issue of if we hit it more than once, we need to not reinitialize and we just need to do the thing we said or close the dialog box. It's close. It's close. Let's try to do this where we're gonna do this stuff instead of doing this if, you know, we have this, oh, well, we have this and a not rest option. So maybe we're good to say, well, if we're rest option, then let's go ahead and do this thing like normal. And then if we're not rest option, then let's go advance that page. And we can do another thing of counting, you know, if it's a rest option, just have a rest count or something. So like, let's get rid of this. We're checking if action's pressed. We're going to increment our A button count. If it's greater than 1, meaning we've pressed it once since we've seen it, print. Then it's going to do this stuff. Let's see. This hopefully shows rest. And then 1 button press. Nice. And it shows us the right thing. Cool. So now we need, you know, if it's rest option and we hit whatever, we can say this like rest dialog advance or dialog, I don't know, rest advance 1. I don't know. Rest advance count. What do we say? Rest count. Rest a button count. Oh, so stupid. Rest a button count. So stupid. But, you know, we have convention of A button counting. So this is rest A button count. And we're just going to say, okay, well, rest A button count is going to say increment by 1. Now, we need to initialize this as 0. Now, instead of doing this if it's a not rest option, we can now do this if it and self dot rest a button count would have to be it would have to be smaller than 1. No, greater than 1, greater than 0. The first time we press it, we advance it to 1. So it'd have to be greater than 1 in order for us to close the page. This would be greater than and greater than, and our rest A button count would have to be greater than 1 in order for us to do this. I don't like that. It won't work. It'll break everything that isn't a rest type. So we could God dang it. Because yeah, we used to be only doing this if it wasn't a rest option. Look at all this junk we are doing if it is a rest option. Shit. Ugh. We basically want, we want to I don't know. We'd have to do this. Fuck. I don't know, dude. Because basically, we're just going to keep doing this. We're just going to keep reinitializing this thing. So, like, we would want to not... We would want to only reinitialize this stuff if our rest A button count is... We'd only want to do this if it's smaller than... smaller than 2. So if we've only hit it once so far, we'd want to do this stuff. I don't know, dude. Let's initialize this so we actually have it. Rest A button count needs 0. Oh shit, but we need it in the reinit. Otherwise we can't reset it, but then if we're resetting it on a reinit, then we can't count how many times we've actually advanced it. That's bad. Because yeah, as soon as we reinit this, A button count goes back to 1, so then next time we press action, we would then increment, and then it would still be smaller than 2, so we just keep reinitting. What do we do? Ooh. I guess what we could do is not reinit it, and instead whenever we... I don't know how to do it. Yeah. Well, we didn't add it to the reinit, so let's see if it even does anything. I think it's gonna be screwed up. See, like, it's not reinitting, but when we come back to it, it doesn't think that it's rest, because we didn't flush our A button count, so it just says, well, actually, yeah, the reinit changes the resulting line, so it kind of just forever gets turned into this. So that's an issue, because yeah, we can't ever get rest back. So, shit, man. Oh, yuck. It's not good. It's not good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure there's a simpler way for me to handle this, but it's like I'm trying to make it work with the existing dialogue system, because that's already complex enough, but we need it to be, you know, it's a certain amount of complex just to print things on screen. What's up, Pedro? Yeah, I don't think this is the way to go about it. It is just... Let's get rid of the rest A button count. And let's just see where that leaves us. So it should say rest. Whoa! Hey, thank you for the follow. That freaked me out. So if we were to exit and come back, I don't think it says rest again. Yeah, see, rest is getting forever overwritten by our results on the reinit. So, thanks for the follow, Pedro. Yeah, at the very least, we need to be able to get our rest back into this dialog box before we close it. At the very least. But ideally, we can also oh, you like Lua, Pedro? Okay. Well, if we go to close it, see, yeah, we're not closing it. Right now we can't close it because this is only available if we are not a rest option. So it's almost like, I don't know what we could do. Because we need this to, like, how does this... This doesn't do anything to our dialog box text result other than, like, cleanse it and reset it. So we kind of need to be able to come back into our map declarations and be able to say there's a text. We just need to reinit it with rest text upon exiting, which we just don't have. So let's just for right now say, well, we're going to do all this stuff, but before we leave, if we are a rest option, then we want to just reinitialize ourselves as having a text called rest. And then maybe our rest is back. So let's try it again. No, it just did not come back. Because we need to reset this other stuff. Now we can't just hard code in these numbers. But let's see if this works. It should be a reinit with rest. And it's just gone forever. Shit. Yeah, we just can't run into it again. It is a dialog box too. Activated probably needs to get false. Okay, well, this does let us interact with it again, but we don't get our init back. We don't get our rest back. So if action B, we set activated to false here, finish printing. Yeah, we just don't have our rest back. I don't think I'm gonna figure this out tonight. We got a lot done today, but this still isn't done. Okay, well, yeah, I think I'm out of steam, so I think we'll call it a night. let's before we commit, let's see if we can get away with not hard coding the reinits for this. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. I don't know. I try to do it the fancy way. Okay. Yeah, we want to do this. We just don't want those hard-coded values in there. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we have some issues. You know, we need to be able to reset the default text string for a dialog box with a rest option, because we overwrite whatever it is with the result of if you can afford it or if you actually purchase it. So we need to kind of reset it to its default, both upon early exiting or choosing no, or choosing yes and affording it and closing the dialog box after. Then we also need the rest input to come up and advance after one button press, which it doesn't sound like it's that tough, but I tried multiple different ways and we just couldn't get it. So that's an issue too. We need to get the advancement based on that second A button press after initialization of the dialog box. And then we need to actually add where it actually heals us and deducts our coinage. And then we need to change the resulting reinit to be not based on a yes or no, but based on a if you can afford it or not. And if you pick no, we need to basically advance the current page, which will then close it and reset the dialog to be interacted with again. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but when I say what we've got to do, you know, there's like a couple of different stacking problems that just aren't so nice. We'll say that we did this where we say added add bed collision function and rest option to dialog box. So it's not done yet, but it is getting there. So we're on our way. So let's run credits. We'll find someone to raid out to. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll try to get some more good programming done. I won't say today was good programming, but we'll do our best. We'll raid out here to Brightside and call it a night. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Oh, we gotta let credits finish.